PC parts might get more expensive thanks to new tariffs. There's new accessibility in town thanks to Apple and Microsoft, and there's hope for an NVIDIA gaming handheld that's not the Switch. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Thursday, May 16th, 2024. And we're going to start off today talking about some new tariffs that are being implemented by the US government that apply to different components that are coming out of China, specifically for anything that gamers and enthusiasts would be worried about. There's going to be between a 25 and 50% tariff implemented in 2025 on things like semiconductors and various different components that might go into various different parts that you use in your gaming computer. Now, likely this isn't going to affect people too much, but back when some of these tariffs were active, this did raise the price of graphics cards quite substantially in combination with like the whole supply chain issue and COVID effect at the exact same time. These were kind of put on hiatus. There was a little pause and that made a lot of components cheaper, but now it looks like they're going to be implemented in full force. With this, there's also 100% tariff that's going on for EVs coming out of China, but because the US does not import too many EVs from China, even though some people were starting to bring in things like BYD and VinFast, it's not going to be a huge change to the current market, although it will kind of hinder demand moving forward. So it's going to create some situations and changes moving forward, which is exactly what Uber's trying to do when you go to a concert or a various different large gathering event venue like a sportings game where people play sports ball. They're going to allow you to reserve a shuttle to get from your house to that big concert where you and a whole bunch of other people can pool the cost of that in order to get to the event. It's something that Uber has been trying to get into with Uber rideshare and all of that. This appears to be a very niche way of allowing the tech of reserving it to potentially make things easier and save you money, especially when you don't have to deal with all that traffic from the event. But also getting back to various different things that are happening with Chinese law, it turns out that a group of TikTok creators are now suing the US administration over the ban. They are apparently being funded, or at least it's going to be endorsed by TikTok themselves, but it does make sense that they would have a group of their creators kind of collectively go against the US in order to try to keep things from being banned here in the US. So we'll have to keep our eyes on how this lawsuit plays out, how these 8 creators who are being involved in the lawsuit are affected by all of this. We'll keep looking at that as time goes by, which is exactly what we're going to do now. We're going to look at Reese while he times by the deals.
Yo, welcome back to EFT Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals out on the internet. Hope you guys are doing well, and hey, let's look at some deals together. Starting off today, we have the iFixit ProTech Toolkit, which is a must-have in any PC builder's arsenal for only $56.36 with included promo code, making it $18.59 off. But then next up, we have this Magnum Gear Neo Air 2 ATX mid-tower case available in white for only $69.99. Nice. With included promo code and a rebate, making it $20 off. And then lastly, we have this EVGA Supernova 850G XC, which is an 850 watt 80 plus gold fully modular power supply for only $99.99 with the coupon applied, making it $70 off. And hey, with that, the deals are done. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time, I'm gonna hand you off back to Brad for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
All right, Reese, I got some good deals when it comes to accessibility in tech. This is something that obviously I am passionate about because I have a son who has very special needs, and anytime tech becomes more accessible, it becomes more usable in my own household. And so Apple announced a few things that are going to be coming to iOS and iPadOS, including things like eye tracking that will allow you to actually use your gaze to look at and select things within your device. It's going to be called Dwell Control for you to be able to, again, dwell on an item and it'll select it for you. Additionally, they're going to be adding various other things like better vocal shortcuts in case you are not able to physically use your hands to interact with your device, as well as music haptics for anybody who's hard of hearing to get a little extra sensation in the haptic motor from your device to help you stay in tune with the music a little bit more, as well as various other things, including live captions in Vision OS. So if you're wearing your Apple Vision Pro, it can actually transcribe what somebody is saying to you as they're talking to you with that. It's just a good little update that Apple's bringing out. They haven't quite indicated when all of these features will be implemented in the operating systems, but it's good to see Apple is thinking of it. And Microsoft is thinking about people who want to game. And so they announced their partnership to launch the Proteus controller, which is a new gamepad that's going to be supported on Xbox and Windows, that's going to launch in the fall for $299. And this little modular cuboid thing can be combined in over 100 different shapes and sizes to make it so that anybody who wants to play with it, despite having physical limitations, can try to do so. The buttons are completely remappable, and you can see that you can come up with various different configurations to make it easier, especially for one-handed gameplay. I'd love to see this happen. Right now, the pre-orders are a little cheaper at $255. It is expensive. Microsoft has been really trying to develop adaptive and accessible controllers for quite some time. Their adaptive controllers came out in 2018, and the price point is just hard, but as somebody who has dealt in the world of how much things cost for accessibility, it always goes like this. If you want a normal thing, it's X price. If you want the accessible version of that thing, well, just tack on tens of thousands of dollars. If we're looking at things like my son's safety bed, that thing's $10,000 MSRP. Thankfully, our insurance picked it up. But if we want to have a converted minivan to actually be able to get our son in and out on his wheelchair, well, add 20 grand for the conversion kit to whatever minivan you buy. Doesn't matter how cheap you make that, the conversion kit is the expensive part, and it makes it tricky. So $300 controller does sound like a lot, but it's gonna bring gaming to a lot of people who otherwise wouldn't have the physical means to do so, and I'm here for that. But speaking of bringing things to people who want stuff, Xbox is also making keyboard and mouse support available on Xbox Cloud Gaming. It's available on Edge and Chrome in beta. They said they were going to do this, and now they've done it. You can play keyboard and mouse on Xbox games on Xbox Cloud Gaming in a browser. Congrats to everybody who wanted that. And congrats to everybody who wanted the AI super resolution from NVIDIA to be enabled in the Mozilla browser, because now it is! You get AI upscaling in your regular videos over on Firefox. Congratulations, you now get that too. And congratulations to me, the biggest fan of the NVIDIA Shield Portable. Probably not. There's probably a bigger fan out there, but NVIDIA is allegedly working on making gaming chips for upcoming handhelds with MediaTek. So this is something that was actually rumored a little while ago, that NVIDIA was getting into cahoots with MediaTek to produce some sort of gaming chip. In the interim, since that rumor came out, NVIDIA and MediaTek did announce a partnership, but it was actually for autonomous driving, which everybody was like, cool, but that's not what we thought was going to happen. And now there's more details that, hey, this is actually still happening, specifically because Jensen is kind of frustrated with how Nintendo wants to handle things. Shocker, Nintendo doing things in a way that people don't like. Oh man, I can't believe it. But also because he sees a good market potential for all of the chips that are going into handhelds. You look at the success of the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, and with all of that being a burgeoning industry, of course, NVIDIA would probably want to get in on that. It looks like they're not necessarily just keeping over to AI. There's some gaming sector that they want to still invest in. Nintendo is not going to get all of it. The Switch 2 is supposed to be really impressive with a lot of the updates that it's making, but I want to see more. I want to see more NVIDIA gaming chips and more different devices, because this is good for competition. Having AMD being one of the sole suppliers for the APUs that are going into handhelds was fine. Intel started dropping some of their Meteor-like stuff. We got the MSI Claw, we got things like the One Player. You have some Intel competition there, but they're still trying to ramp it up. NVIDIA coming in and potentially taking over the space could be good for the same reasons why we want AMD to compete on the high-end discrete GPUs, because it's just good for everybody when there's more competition going around. And you might remember that NVIDIA did have some sort of gaming handhelds back in the day before the Nintendo Switch even existed. They had their NVIDIA Shield lineup. They had a Shield tablet. They had the Shield Portable, as you can see on the screen right here. I remember playing my PlayStation 4 Pro being streamed over to my NVIDIA Shield Portable. I released this in a video in 2016. So everybody who's saying, hey, you're liar, you're wrong about the PlayStation Portal, I'm telling you, that device was specifically made for me because I was finding hacky ways to get around all of that way back in 2016 when I had the NVIDIA Shield Portable, and I want to see more of that come out. So NVIDIA, MediaTek, please make it happen. I want more gaming handhelds, thank you. And I want to read your comments from yesterday's episode of Hot News, so let's do that. Spoon Hurler said, NVIDIA, For clarity, 40 series cards will be $400, 50 series $500, 60 series $600, and of course the Crown Jewel 70 series will be $7,000. We are thinking about the customer and how much money they can give us. It's a great thing. I get it. I understand. Then Adam saying Soylent needs to put that line on their product. Not made of people. They specifically in the talking points for Soylent say you can make a reference to the movie where Soylent Green is people. Like they understand that is part and parcel of the whole understanding of their name, and they embrace it. So that's good to have a sponsor that has a sense of humor. M. Brosen saying, when have you ever made a phone call and been happy to talk to a robot? Never. That's a good point. I have. Actually, I have one instance where I was happy to talk to a robot, and that was back in like the early 2010s when I didn't have money for Windows licenses and I wanted to activate Windows keys on different computers, and if I talked to a live agent, they wouldn't allow it to happen, but if I got into the robot agent, it would activate the keys for me so I could have activated Windows without all talking to a person. So that is the singular instance in my entire life that I can think of. And then Rayox saying, hey, leave CS6 Adobe Illustrator logo alone. No, AI forever. AI from Adobe, AI from Google, AI from everyone. That's what I want. And I want to be done with this episode of Hot News, so I'll see you back here for more of the hottest tech news tomorrow, my friends.